Did you know? On an ordinary night, I spent an unforgettable time on a motorcycle with my soulmate. 17 wrapped around her finger 𝐷𝐸𝐽. I've spent years on my motorcycle. The machine has always been a tool to help ease my mind. I don't have to think about anything when I'm riding. It's effortless and my mind is always empty. That's gone now. Hendrik sits in front of me, her small body leaning back on my chest, her head covered in my helmet, her long hair flying through the wind like a banner. Those tiny hands of hers rest under mine on the handlebars. Frail bones and a thin skin remind me just how delicate her life really is. I clench my teeth. It's not hard for me to see over her head as I steer. The sun sets in the distance, reminding me of times in my past. I've seen countless sunsets of pastels and bright hues, but this one is palpably different from the others. More exquisite. And it's all because of the human female who has me imprisoned with one glance. I weave through the woods, the darkening sky casting pink shadows of bare tree branches across the road. In taking the scenic route to my destination, it's a bit longer since inexpertly trying to draw this night out. For once, I didn't follow Hendrix in order to find her. Fate did that all on its own. I was just out for a simple grocery run, and now my mate is sitting between my thighs on my bike. Hendrix has never ridden on a motorcycle before. I knew it the second she saw the thing. She trembled against my skin when I pulled her on. After a couple of minutes, she calmed down. My presence and scent subconsciously lulls her into a sense of peace and security. Deep down, she knows it'll always keep her safe. That's what mates do. The two tires beneath pull us out of the thick forest with a rumble. Buildings appearing with their lights and their noise. The annoying sound of cars makes me grit my teeth. I'd prefer to stay in solitude, but I'm doing this for my mate. I'd do anything for her. Where are we going? Hendrix asks when we reach a stoplight, looking up at me by tilting her head all the way back so her face is upside down. The glowing fluorescent red splays out across her cheeks. What did I do to deserve such an adorable mate? It's a surprise. I answer, and she grins. That little grin is enough to make my heart stutter. That's a first. Another new discovery that comes with my mate's presence. The light turns green and I rev my bike up again, sliding forward. Usually I would go a bit faster, but I don't take chances when Hendrix is involved. My senses are enough to keep me safe on the road, but I can't risk it. I can never risk her. I may be a skilled driver, but I can't say the same for the rest of the idiots on the road. When I park the bike, I'm reluctant to get off and officially in the ride. I sit there for a few moments, the engine still roaring happily. I let Metal Eddie enjoy it a moment longer before I rip the keys out of the ignition. I kick out the kickstand and lumber off of the vehicle with a glare. That glare is soon replaced by a grin I can't help, destroying my annoyance. I stand there and appreciate the sight of my human on my motorcycle. Hendrix is so short that her legs don't reach the ground on either side of the bike. She appears so little on it. So perfect. See, that was so bad. Now was it? She shrugs, trying to come off as indifferent. It's too bad I can see right through it. Hendrix loved it. She reaches out an arm for help, and I gladly aid her. She grabs my wrist. Her fingers not even wrapping all the way around. Frozen yogurt? Hendrix asks. Incredulous. She stares at the building with a strange look. The sidewalks are empty. It's perfectly quiet. You don't like frozen yogurt? I'm not a fan of sweet things myself, but I thought she would like it. Maybe I misjudged her. No, of course I like frozen yogurt. I love it, she explains as I walk her into the place, holding the door open for her. I just don't have a lot of cash. I roll my eyes, thankful for my sunglasses blocking them from her. I didn't have the patience for contact lenses today. I doubt the little human will react well to my bright red pupils. The curse of my eye color has sent many humans running. She wouldn't be the first. The thought of it unsettles me. Maybe then she would be scared of me. The thought doesn't bode well. They'll pay for you. 𝐊𝐤𝐳𝐷 𝐸𝐴𝐷 𝐶𝐿𝐬. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She stares up at me, biting her lip and scrunching her eyebrows in question. She looks like she's in pain. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐫. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You shortened. You keep doing that and it makes me feel bad. I can repay you. Hendrix tries to reason, but I shake my head. I struggled to let her buy her own damn groceries earlier. Buying her a cup of ice cream is the least I can do to make myself feel better. She's my mate. Everything in me screams to provide for her. Protect her. It's not easy to ignore that desire. Sometimes it's all I can think about. Even when she's not around. No, you don't need to pay me back. I'm happy to help. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐫. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. My treat. I assure her. She tries to hide her embarrassed smile, but it's obvious. Thank you. Hendrix murmurs, and the sound of her sweet southern accent is enough to force me to do anything she wants. I'm helpless to stop her. She's got me wrapped around her finger, and I couldn't be happier about it. She gets a small cup of frozen yogurt, and she's somehow surprised when I refuse to get some for myself. I don't try to explain to her that I'm not a big fan of sugary things. I just let her add as many toppings as she wants to the mounds of chocolate yogurt. It's enough to just watch her. Her long, plaid skirt twirls with each movement, her wavy hair bouncing with every step. Seeing her smile innocently and fill with pure excitement, it's everything. I pay for her dessert, happy to be of any help or value to her. She doesn't even react shocked when I grab her hand. It's natural. It just feels right. Hendrix leans into me as we leave the register and sit in the corner of the little shop. The place is completely empty, which I'm glad for. No one to interrupt. No one to see it. Hendrix won't stop grinning down at the bowl as she digs in without preamble. So 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝, I ask after a short time of silently watching her. Just remembering that pompous idiot behind the register makes me want to go back and smash his face in. How can anyone talk to someone so sweet with so much hatred? I could kill him without a second thought. A light pink blush climbs her cheeks and she glances away. Just trying to save money is all. Hendrix explains. That's the part that kills me. She's struggling. It's clear for anyone to see that she's trying and failing to make ends meet. It's enough to make any mate angry. My soulmate is right in front of me, straining to provide for herself, and I can't do anything but buy her a treat every now and again. It's driving me crazy. If I had it my way, she wouldn't lift a finger. All her needs would be met and then some. She would want for nothing. But reality makes it impossible, as if she would let me care for her. I'm almost a perfect stranger. Why aren't you working today if you're having money problems? I wonder if I stepped over the line with that last question. I clench my jaw as I wait for her to. She sighs, fiddling with the handle of her pink plastic spoon. I cut back my hours. I need to focus on school. You know, I'm not making great money. They add up our tips and split them evenly, so working hard doesn't do much for me. I'm wearing myself out with homework plus work. I nod, wanting more than anything to take away all of her problems, erase her struggle, ease her burden. That's a dominant mate's job, to protect their mate. She eats her yogurt with a contemplative expression. I marvel at her freckles and her soft, pink lips. Lips so full and so tempting. I want to kiss those lips more than anything right now. But I can't. I don't want to scare her away, or give her the wrong impression of me. I need to take things slow. Why are you wearing sunglasses? The question catches me off guard. I straighten the frames on my face. Because it was bright outside. I explain, my voice sounding gruff. I hate lying to Hendrix, but she can't possibly know the truth. The excuse should come out easy, but it doesn't. She licks her perfect lips, pointing at me with the end of her spoon that's still covered in sugary syrup. Well, it's not anymore. She muses. looking out at the sunset. And by still, panic soon sets in. This is not going in a good direction. 𝐷𝐴 and ND, we're inside now. So you can take them off. 𝐊𝐲's smiling. 𝐊𝐲's got me there. I'd prefer not to. I tell her, leaning back in my chair as if she'll snatch them off my face any second. Come on, you look ridiculous wearing those things inside. I'm tempted to follow her every command. Hendrix is my Luna, my queen. I want to obey her every wish. But this is something else. If I obey her now, she might never want to see me again. How can I risk it all? I don't want to scare you, I say slowly, my voice almost a whisper, pain leaking from every syllable. Her facial expression changed from flirty to serious in a split second. She appears concerned when she scoots a chair closer to me, a careful hand caressing on. 𝐶edric, damn, I love when she says my name. You could never ever scare me. I promise you that. What she says is too good to be true. Even in that perfect voice of hers, it has to be a lie. She doesn't know what I look like. Doesn't know the things I've done. If she could only see how powerful I am. How dangerous. Every move around her is carefully thought out. Incapable of so much. My eyes are proof. I inherited the curse from my father. A Viking-like king with a deadly reputation. People used to say that his eyes turned red after his first battle, or that he was blessed with them from birth because the goddess made him to destroy. When I was born, they said the same things about me. Please, Hendrix bleeds. I find myself defenseless. How can I withhold anything from her? I make a career out of taking the shields off my eyes. When I slide them off, my gaze fixes solely on my mate, gauging her reaction with a firm set expression. If she hasn't run yet, maybe I really do have a chance. 𝐶𝐲's very still, her dark brown eyes staring into mine with so much compassion and amazement. She gasps. But it's not from fear. We spend a long time in this position, just facing each other endlessly. Beautiful. Hendrix breathes, and I furrow my eyebrows. There are many adjectives that have been used to describe my terrifying gaze, and beautiful was never among them. How can you possibly think so? I beg her, ashamed to even let her see them. How can you think I would ever be afraid of you? She shakes her head in dismission. You're the only person who makes me feel safe. Your eyes, they're safe. 𝐶𝐿𝐷𝐸 𝐷𝐸 𝐷𝐸 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐸. They're part of you. I don't know how I could ever doubt her. Hendrix is beyond this world. I've never seen anything like it. She murmurs, scooting closer to get a better look. I can only imagine what she sees. Glowing red pupils and awful scars. But she somehow chooses to see the best. Sorry to ask, but is it like a medical condition? Or maybe a birth defect? She questions me, never straying her gaze away from my eyes. That's what people typically do when they see my oddity. They stare. But I don't mind when it's her. She can look at me as long as she wants. It'll be her own personal museum exhibit. Yeah, something like that. That's why I've been wearing contacts. People are terrified when they see them. They can't control their reactions. I don't like admitting it, but it used to bother me. Hurt my feelings. No one ever wanted to be near me. And as a child, that destroyed me. I learned to move past it. But over time I've become more annoyed by it than anything else. After 1,000 years it became tiresome to hear about it all the time. I get it. I'm a freak. Well, people are idiots. I think they're amazing. Unique. You're one of a kind. 𝐶𝐿𝐷𝐸 𝐷𝐸 heartfelt thanks to your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Hendrix gushes, and I chuckle. 𝐶𝐿𝐷𝐸 𝐷𝐸 heartfelt thanks to your unfading patience, enthusiasm. And she blushes, grinning knowingly up at me. Yeah, I would say it's fitting. Your eyes are the color of cherries in the spring. She muses, smiling as she bites the corner of her lip, observing me with too much admiration. My mate has given me a nickname. No one has called me by an endearment before. To my agent 𝐿𝐢𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐫𝐬, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐂𝐮𝐧𝐷 enthusiasm. With the way it makes me feel, I know I'm in trouble. Our teen first date, 𝐿𝐢𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐫𝐬. The wind blows through my hair like a tornado, and since I'm very acquainted with my untamed hair, I know I'll be ripping tangles out of it most of the night. I can't help thinking that it's somehow worth it. The night air, the smooth breeze, the open road, it's all breathtaking. Though sometimes I find it hard to concentrate with 𝐶edric's strong arms caging me in, his rough hands on top of mine. As soon as I found out what a rush it is to be a passenger on a motorcycle, I didn't ever want to get off. It's amazing. Pure bliss. And the best part of it is that I'm spending time with 𝐶edric too. Frozen yogurt. A thrilling ride through the dark. I don't want this night to end, but all good things must come to an end eventually, and that's exactly what happens when 𝐶edric pulls up to my apartment building in the starlight. I mourn the loss of the purring bike when he shuts it off, leaving us in the cold night with nothing but silence to listen to. Neither of us say anything, and I end up pulling a risky move, swinging one of my legs over the seat. I turn myself around until I'm facing 𝐶edric while I'm straddling the motorcycle. I stare up into his glowing eyes. They're almost eerie, but so beautiful. I can't believe he has red eyes. I don't know how it's possible, but I try not to question it. 𝐶edric is a miracle. His eyes are a miracle. That's all I need to know. Those crimson orbs are like sparkling garnets. I don't know how he can be ashamed of them, or how on earth anyone could be afraid of them. People are wusses. They're the most perfect set of eyes I've ever seen. I could stare at them for hours. I don't really want to go inside. I inform him, tilting my head and grinning mischievously. 𝐶edric nods his agreement, removing my helmet and tucking a few loose strands of hair out of my face. I don't really want you to either, he admits, an echo of a smile on his handsome face. I bite my lip impatiently. Looking at him is hard when I can't kiss him. He hasn't kissed me yet. Why hasn't he? There have been plenty of opportunities for him to take. Maybe my theory of my annoying disposition is true. I sure hope not. I can't be wrong. I just can't. The signals 𝐿𝐢𝐳 is sending me, they all lead back to him liking me. The facts don't lie. The only thing making me doubt his attraction to me is myself. And all of this self-deprecation. My biggest enemy in this situation is myself. If I don't take a chance, if I don't put myself on the line, then I might be stuck wondering what if. I hate what ifs. They drive me crazy. Daydreaming about what could have been is something I've struggled with for way too long. My whole childhood was filled with restless nights, my head brimming with what ifs. I don't want this to be one of those things that I look back and wonder what could have happened if I'd been woman enough to go after what I want. So I do it. I grab his rugged face between my hands and press my lips to his. 𝐶edric's first reaction is to freeze. His mouth still firm. He growls for the second time tonight. My eyes are closed tight as I move against his lips, trying to activate them somehow. Activate they do. Before I know it, 𝐿𝐢𝐳 is kissing me back. His warm tongue slides across my bottom lip. I grant it permission to enter. Once my mouth is open, things go a bit faster, and I can tell we're getting carried away. We're in public, for heaven's sake. I can't seem to conjure up any shyness about our PDA. The attraction is like an electric shock. It burns and sizzles through my body with such ferocity that it almost hurts. But it's addicting. I can't get enough. I press my body into his, leaning forward. I'm on the brink of falling off the bike, and if it weren't for his secure arms holding me in place, I would be in a puddle on the curb. He slows down the kiss, tempering the whirlwind storm. It comes down evenly until he pulls away. I'm out of breath. 𝐿𝐢𝐳 not. Of course 𝐿𝐢𝐳 not. 𝐿𝐢𝐳 in great shape. Can't say the same for myself. Working out and I don't get along. Those cherry red eyes shimmer in the darkness. Instead of his usual gentle gaze, I detect hunger. I can't be imagining that. I don't know why I'm so shocked. He just made out with me and I'm still not sure if he likes me or not. This is definitely an indicator I'm not the only one who feels this thing between us. Well, that was perfect. Cedric finishes, an amazed grin tugging the corner of his lip upward. He won't stop staring down at me. Why did you do that? The question he poses doesn't make me feel ashamed or embarrassed. 𝐿𝐢𝐧𝐠 leaving me empowered. I show him by smiling and straightening the collar of his jacket that I'm still clinging to. Because I'm wild, I decide. And he laughs. The sound of that husky chuckle sends a current up my spine. As I attempt to venture off the vehicle, I remember how far down the ground is, and wince when I can't seem to do it myself. This thing is tricky. 𝐿𝐢𝐧𝐠's steady touch holds me in place. Please, allow me before you crack your head open. He climbs off rather quickly, leaving me a bitter. He makes it look so easy. Professor Riley helps me off, his hands gripping my waist when he hauls me into the air and down again. I steady myself against his chest once my feet find purchase. I blow out a breath of relief, the air leaving my lungs forcing a puff of smoke in the chilly air. Damn, I forgot you must be cold. Arched brows pinch together. Now I've cursed in front of you, making a great impression, aren't I? Yet truly cares what I think. This definitely isn't one-sided. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐸𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐝 𝐸𝐻𝐿𝐢𝐳 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To strikes, that's gotta hurt. I muse, rubbing my palms up and down my arms. I play at the whole cold thing. Gotta tease him when I can. Truth be told, I haven't been cold since the kiss we shared. His presence has kept me warm for the most part. But the wind is starting to get the best of me. My light sweater and flannel skirt aren't doing much to keep me protected. 𝐿𝐢𝐧𝐠's angry expression evaporates as he plays along. That playful look he wears does something to me. Butterflies dance in my stomach. Oh yeah, what happens when I reach 3? He asks smoothly, his deep baritone. Haven't you seen baseball? It means you're out. I explain, and I realize my mistake when he questions me further. Out of what? My mouth opens, parting in confusion as input on the spot. What am I supposed to say to that? What if I assumed this to be more than it is? Oh no, what have I done? Hendrix. I suddenly focus on Cedric, my gaze readjusting when I'm pulled from my mind. I can tell that he noticed my panic. All teasing is gone. I'd like to think of this as our first date. If that's all right with you. If that's all right with me. Of course it's all right with me. It's fantastic with me. You want to do this again? As in take me out. On a date. Not convinced quite yet that this is actually happening. Maybe I dreamed this whole thing. And you'll wake up in the passenger seat of Dylan's van. How depressing that would be. Cedric nods his head once. Only if you're okay with it. I'd never want to make you uncomfortable. But I do like you, Hendrix. I want to spend more time with you. It takes everything in me not to scream yes at him at the top of my lungs. That might be a little too exuberant. Yeah, me too. I'd love to. Can I get your number so I can call you sometime? He flashes his white teeth at me and agrees. I shakily type his number into my tiny phone, discreetly adding his contact to my favorites list. When I look back up, his leather jacket is off. His bare arms clear as day in the moonlight. 𝐿𝐢𝐳𝐸𝐵 wearing a plain white shirt that doesn't look so plain on him, and doesn't leave much to the imagination. But imagine I do. I find myself wondering what he would look like without it. You must be freezing. Cedric moves the jacket behind me, lowering it onto my shoulders. I'm immediately greeted with his scent. It's not cologne, and I don't know how I know that. But I do. The woodsy smell must be natural. I fit my arms through the sleeves, and my man laughs when my hands don't come through the holes. You can't even see my fingertips. The jacket is so oversized it hangs off my arms with the extra leather. The thing reaches my knees. The coat is cozy though, and Cedric makes sure to carefully zip it up to my chin. It traps in all the warmth. There we go, he whispers. We stand there for a while, so close that our breathing mingles. Our eyes never strain. I want to touch him again. Eventually, I have to go inside. It's inevitable. I just wish I could put it off a moment longer, but I can't. Might as well get it over with. Seeing him go is the worst part. He carries my bags of groceries and my purse as he leads me up to the building. I stick my hands in the spacious jacket pockets. My numb fingers start to soften. Thank you. Really, thank you for everything. I had a great time. I tell him, taking my bags and pulling out my keys. You're welcome. You deserve it, Cedric replies, his voice filled with honesty. He runs a hand through his pitch-black hair that matches the night, then leans in before I can open the door. Cedric places a goodnight kiss on me. I miss his lips the sec, and he pulls away. Call me, he insists. I unlock the door and shoot him a shy smile. I will. Good night. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks to your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. With that, I'm gone. I climb the stairs with a dazed sensation. I can't believe that just happened. I'm floating instead of walking. It's like 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝 was a drug, and I'm still high. A blurry sheen is over my eyes as I open the apartment door. I glide in. The sated grin on my face is bound to tell a story or two. I'm greeted with Miranda and Stacy on the couch, watching a movie. I turn to head into the kitchen, dodging their curious stares. Where have you been? Stacy asks, and I shake my head. The groceries make a lot of noise as they hit the countertops. I start unloading when I hear my friends pause the movie and come up behind me. I turn to put the peaches in the fridge, when I'm met with a towering Miranda. Her hands on her hips. Her nostrils flare like she smells something awful. It's now that I notice her eyes glued to the leather jacket. Why were you with him? She demands, her voice harsh and cold. I trip a little when I close the door to the refrigerator. How did you know I was with him? I ask in a small voice. I can't stand the thought that they're so against him. She is everything to me right now. After tonight, I can't stop picturing him. The jacket, the sound of the motorcycle outside. It's pretty obvious. Hendrix. Miranda scolds me, and I try not to shrink back. I can't back down. Not now. Not after all 𝐊𝐲's done for me. I have to defend him. I like him. 𝐊𝐲𝐶𝐶𝐬 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. 𝐊𝐲 is sweet, and thoughtful, and smart. He watches out for me, and kisses me goodnight. Buys me frozen yogurt. Why do you think 𝐊𝐲 is such a bad guy? What's so wrong with all of that? I beg, gripping the nice-smelling coat tightly around my shivering frame. Stacy stands in the background silently as Miranda tears into me. 𝐊𝐲's no good for you. You can't see him anymore, she says. And things like that used to work on me, used to persuade me mindlessly. It's gone now. I'm free from her commands. The handcuffs have broken. Oh yeah. And why is that? 𝐿𝐲 is so awful and terrible that I can't be around him. Tell me why. Why is he so bad? My voice is shrill sounding, the fury bleeding through. Miranda appears a little shocked when I talk back. She quickly masks it, shutting her gaping mouth with a click. Think about it, Hendrix. 𝐊𝐲 is older than you, a lot older than you. He has a stable career and life. You're a college student with no money. Why would he want you? The words cut me deep, and I flinch. 𝐊𝐲 is using you. Once you give it up, he'll drop you. I don't want to see you get hurt. I shake my head, backing away until my back hits the counter. In shriveling up, my hand fist at my side. Cedric is not like that. You don't know him. What? And you do. Wake the hell up. Miranda snaps. She slams a hand on the counter. Her usually reserved tone is gone, lost in a sea of anger and volume. You're just jealous. You won't go out with any guy because you'd dwarf all of them. The only man on campus taller than you. And he wants me. You can't take it. I hurl back, my voice not quite as confident as hers, but still colored with poison. Her pretty eyes widen, and she takes a step back. That's right. You're both jealous of me. Ever since I can remember, you two always got the attention. Every boy who spoke to me just wanted the inside scoop on beautiful Miranda and Stacy. They worshipped the ground you walked on. Now that I finally have someone who likes me, you want to take him away from me. Well, guess what? You can't have him. They both look shocked. Stacy has tears in her eyes. Henny. Miranda starts. Not ears roll freely down my face as I stomp to my room. Her hateful words echo in my head over and over. Why would he want you? Trailer trash. Redneck. Abandoned. All the haunting memories come swinging back. And him left in pieces when the door bangs shut behind me. Cedric POV looky here. Savannah brags, pulling the skinny rogue up by his collar. He squirms like a worm in her grip. Found him messing with one of my cameras. I stare expressionless at the dirty mongrel. Mud smudged on his cheek, a busted lip and a set of wired eyes. I find myself in the woods again, the cell phone burning a hole in my pocket. Please, let me go. I know nothing less. I swear. I left him feeling after hearing his words. They mean nothing. 𝐿𝐤 afraid. He reeks of fear. Every little thing out of his mouth is in a desperate plea to be released. I think of Hendrix. It's been days. Why won't she call me? She goes to work, goes to school. I haven't spoken to her in days. It's driving me insane. My control is dwindling. We know you have to know something. Why else would you destroy my camera? My beta pulls him up harder, the force of her grit making him whimper. I just don't like being watched. What's so wrong with that? The rogue sputters, his brown eyes darting from Savannah and then back to me. Terror fills them when they land on my face. Damn. Your 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬. Are it you? Please don't hurt me. Your Majesty. That word makes me seethe. Control is lost. Mistakes are made. I grab him by the neck, one hand curling around his delicate throat when I lift him into the air. Sputters, begs. All I see is red. Blood flows down my arm as the body thumps to the ground. The werewolf is dead. His neck pulses with maroon as it drains onto the 4-leaf spot in the forest floor. Shit. What's gotten into you? Savannah asks. She doesn't seem angry. Maybe just casually put out like she relished torturing information out of him. I don't say anything. All I can think about is Hendrix. How would she react if she saw me like this? Drenched in blood. Eyes blazing with violence. Maybe then she would run the other way. Then she would know what a terrifying creature I am. Why hasn't she called me? Is it my eyes? Did I scare her away with the whole date thing? I honestly feel pathetic this way, writhing in self-pity as I panic internally. I'm like a teenager raging with hormones and emotions. 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐑𝐞𝐝 𝐊𝐢𝐬𝐬. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, 𝐿𝐢𝐳. And now I've made a mess. The rogue is dead. We could have got information from him, but my feelings got the best of me. I'm suddenly ashamed, although I don't let it show. It's about her, isn't it? Savannah says, not looking at me, but staring at the deceased rogue between us. His eyes are wide and unseeing. My silence is 𝐿𝐤𝐳 enough. Savannah's eyes, giving me a defeated smile. She finally meets my gaze. Your little mate. What is she like? She asks finally. I stay silent for a moment, thinking of what to say. She's wild. But all the best flowers are. 19 Everything's Magic Cedric POV. When Hendrix shows up for our tutoring session, we don't waste much time talking about literature. The once intriguing topic has now become second place in comparison to the other activities that we enjoy. It's less than 5 minutes and we start making out. We can't keep our hands off of each other. The sight and smell of her are enough to make me go crazy with want. She's everything. I can't keep away. Can't stop myself when she presses up against me, demanding my mouth. She's sitting on my desk, her legs hanging down on either side of my chair, my hands on her thighs as we kiss. To think all this time I held back from touching her out of fear of spooking her. Then she ended up being the one to pounce on me. The bold move was shocking, and very welcomed, and I spent the rest of the week in pure bliss remembering the intimacy I shared with my mate. Hendrix nibbles on my bottom lip, and I groan. The back and forth of the kiss is like a flow, a tornado, the pushing and pulling of energy and motion. She tastes like raspberries and sunshine. When in with her, everything falls into place, and everything is right with the world. She pulls away for a moment. She's panting hard as she tries to get oxygen into her dainty human lungs. Her breath fans across my face, and it holds an addicting sweet aroma that has me hooked. It doesn't take long before her lips are assaulting mine once more, despite the fact that she's still laboring for breath. I'm the one to pull away this time, worried about her health. There are many instances when I'm reminded of how delicate Hendrix is. I worry about her constantly. Humans get sick easily, and can die at the drop of a hat. There are times when the realization sends me into a panic. What if something bad happens to her? What if I can't get to her in time? Her life is like a thin thread. Any movement can't tear it in two. Maybe you should catch your breath. Baby, don't strain yourself, I say softly, brushing my thumb against her soft cheek as I stare into the deep depths of her doe eyes. She huffs an annoyed sigh, shaking her head in amusement while she breathes through her mouth. I'm not in great shape. This is embarrassing, she grumbles in an adorable voice. I chuckle, shaking my head. If only she knew shape has little to do with our breathing differences, and everything to do with species. No, you're perfect the way you are, I inform her earnestly, running my fingers through her tangled, curly hair the color of chestnuts. The soft ringlets are made for my touch. You're sure? You're just secretly judging me, she muses, looking at me with so much affection that I think I might be the one to run out of breath. I would never. She stares at me a moment longer, and I know she's admiring me again. That's something I don't deserve. Her admiration. I love your eyes, Hendrix says in a whisper. She insists on me taking out my contacts when she's around. Our past 3 tutoring sessions have been strictly filled with snogging. Each time she's more and more insistent that I remove my contact lenses. I don't mind. Not at all. Leaning back in, we start up on what we came here for. Of course I've kissed a woman before. I've done a lot more than that. But I've never had this sensation for even a second of any of that. This is something different altogether. This is magic. Sheer and pure magic. I'm engulfed in fire when I touch her. I slide my tongue into her mouth, tugging on her and demanding more. She moans and wraps her arms tightly around my neck. Hendrix pulls me in closer. I'm imprisoned like a helpless animal in the jaws of a bear trapped, and I don't plan on escaping the torture. Sweet, sweet torture. Every once in a while, the paranoia starts to set in. We're in my classroom, on the middle of campus. 𝐿𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐿 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝. I've taken proper precautions. The door is locked up tight, shades drawn, but my senses aren't exactly on high alert. I'm practically drunk on my mate. I'm hoping nothing goes over my head. More time flies by. I don't even know what time it is. Hendrix throws me off course. We pull away again, but not too far. She's close. I wouldn't have her any other way. So what does this mean? She asks me, licking her swollen upper lip so it glistens. Her cheeks are tinged pink. Her hair messy, eyes glazed over and filled with energy. What do you mean? I wonder, not quite paying attention. I'm still staring at that mouth of hers that I'm becoming very well acquainted with. Hendrix rolls her eyes and laughs. She sounds like a damn pixie when she laughs. 𝐶𝐿𝐷𝐞𝐿 𝐿 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐊𝐤𝐧𝐠 enthusiasm. She softly hits me in the chest and then motions to herself. Me and you and me. Is it a thing? 𝐊𝐤𝐳𝐸𝐬𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐊𝐤𝐧𝐠 enthusiasm. 𝐊𝐤𝐳𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐊𝐤𝐧𝐠 enthusiasm. Her volume gets quieter and less confident as she talks. I can hear the unsure thread in her voice. And I can hear the hope, the longing. She wants me. She has the draw. And she wants to give in to it. She's just as cautious as me, trying to take it slow as to not scare off the other when we both just want each other. I'll be honest. I like you, Hendrix. I care about you. I want this to be a thing. There's something between us. And you feel it too, don't you? Hendrix doesn't even stop to think about it. She just nods slowly. She stares at me alight with excitement. I care about you too, more than I should. I'm just a little scared, Cherry. Not afraid of me, at least. But it's understandable to be terrified of her new feelings. The mate bond doesn't love. The mate bond is like a magnet. She's been drawn to me since we met. But her affection for me, and mine for her, is purely organic. We choose to fall in love. The bond just gives us the first spark. I'm well on my way to falling in love with her. Me too. But I'm trusting my gut. You wanna know what my gut is telling me? She nods in response. It's telling me to jump in and never let go. Another kiss from the human. This one short and sweet. A reply of sorts to my declaration. Hendrix's small fingers hold onto my shoulders as she grins from ear to ear. Suddenly her smile collapses, replaced with a hopeless expression. I sit up straighter as I wait for her to talk. I'm so happy to hear you say that. But what about Savannah? I know you said you're our only friends and all. I interrupt her. I can't help it. I hold a finger to her lips to stop her from saying any more. I said it because it's true. We are just friends. Close friends. Sure. But I've known her forever. She's more of an annoying little sister. I want you. Hendrix. Why would I spend so much time with you if I didn't? I asked gently, holding her face and focusing solely on her, and nothing else. Sighing, I shake my head. I hate it that she's so unsure of herself. She's the perfect specimen and she's worried about Savannah of all people. I guess not. Hendrix admits, not looking me in the eyes as she smiles happily to herself, fiddling with the end of her dress. If there was any doubt left in her, I kiss it away. It's a firm and dedicated kiss. iMessage. A love note. Of course not. That's my point. I love kissing you, and being around you, seeing you, hearing you. She smirks, wrapping a hand around my tie and tugging me towards her. Me too. I've never wanted to be around someone more in my life. 𝐊𝐤𝐳𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐞𝐝 Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing 𝐊𝐤𝐧𝐠 enthusiasm. And then we're kissing again, which is a huge surprise. We barely stopped since she showed up. After minutes of pleasure, she has to catch her breath again. I can't take it anymore. I pull her into my lap. Hendrix lets out the most adorable gasp I've ever heard. She's straddling me. Not quite eye level anymore. This position is more intimate. Not quite sexual, but comfortable. She fits against me like she should. Like she was made to complete me. A missing piece of me. I'm going to state the obvious. No one should know about me and you. That we're together. Student and a teacher. That could cause trouble. And I don't want that. I explain as I look down at her. A bit awkward at the subject. I'm not ashamed of her. I could never be. But humans have their strange reservations on relationships. She ducks her head to the side, doodling little patterns on my shoulder with her fingertip. Yeah, I wouldn't want you to lose your job because of me, Hendrix admits, smiling sadly as she nestles deeper into me. I grip her chin, pushing her head back until I've got her attention. I couldn't care less about my job. It's your education, Your hard-earned tuition. I don't want you getting expelled. You know what the school will think if they find out. Baby, that you seduce me for better grades. She lights up at my explanation. I can see the flirtatious fire filling her. Maybe you should give me bad grades just to throw them off the trail. She offers up, and I throw my head back with laughter, running a hand down her back. Sounds like a plan to me. 𝐷𝐞𝐬𝐻. I stare out the window of the bus, the landscape flying by in vibrant shades of autumn that I haven't seen in a few weeks at least. Up north, in Virginia, the leaves turn and fall much sooner than they do down south. In anxious, almost trembling, the call I got last night has sent me spiraling out of control. First thing I did was grab a suitcase and shove some clothes in it as fast as humanly possible. When I heard that my mother was in the hospital, I called my boss standing at the door to inform him I might need a few days off since I don't know how long you'll be gone. At least she's not in the hospital anymore. A kind woman at the called me to inform me that my mama was discharged and to be sure to check in on her. My number is still on her emergency contact information, and they clearly didn't know that I live 12 hours away now. I have 30 minutes left. The bus is quickly eating up the distance. The long road gets shorter and shorter as I bite my lip and try to focus on the music filling my ears. My iPod is a must for a road trip, and a must to keep me calm. 𝐷𝐞𝐬𝐻 isn't here. He always keeps me calm. My leg bounces uncontrollably from the suffocating bout of anxiety I'm going through. There are so many thoughts flying through my head. I know she'll be pissed when I show up. There's no doubt about that. She'll wonder how I found out, and what I want. Mama hates being coddled. I wish she would just let me care for her. It would make everything that much easier. Ocean Springs. The grumpy bus driver yells, the name of my hometown echoing through the rows of carpeted seats. I hurry to collect my things. I almost trip in the process of shoving my purse under my arm and bustling down the aisle. I've come this far, in not missing my chance. Bus drivers don't tend to have a lot of leniency. Better safe than sorry. Once I'm off the bus, the heat and humidity hits me head on. I close my eyes and take a deep breath of it. The bus starts up again, rumbling away. I stand here in the hot sun for a moment. Home sweet home. It's not a long walk home from the bus stop. I'm thankful I packed light. I don't expect this to be a long visit. The longest she'll let me stay is a few days. I know I could be in for a fight if she's in a bad mood. The grass is turning brown. The leaves just starting to fall. Down here always a little behind. There's already snow in the forecast in Virginia this weekend, and I'm not looking forward to it. The park is just the same. The trailers at arty and almost sass. Some are so sunken and they might collapse. They always look drab surrounded by mounds of crap piled in the yards and the front porches. It's not a pleasant sight, and it's where the stereotype of trailer park people comes from. I trudge through until I'm at the front door of our home, or what used to be my home. I've lived here since I was 5 years old. Hurricane Katrina ruined and our little house on the other side of town. It was barely left standing after that fiasco. Knocking on the door. I chew on this inside of my cheek in anticipation as I hear my mom making her way towards me unsuspectingly. When the door finally opens, her mouth literally drops open. She's always been one for theatrics. I roll my eyes and put my arms around her. My luggage goes toppling over. Hey mama. As if nothing's wrong, and it's completely normal that I'm here on her doorstep with my things. She stands still for a moment, soaking in my warmth before she finally wraps her arms around my waist. Who told you? Sugar, she asks in my ear, petting my hair softly with her long, acrylic nails. So she figured it out. I lean back, looking up into her kind eyes and shaking my head. It doesn't matter. I'm here now, and what's done is done. I use one of her favorite phrases against her, and she clicks her tongue at me in good humor. Pastor Miles was saying this Sunday that it's our children that teach us. I can't say I didn't believe him. Mama smiles sadly, cupping my face. Well, come on in before you catch a chill. I follow after her, bags in tow, and before I know it, was sipping on sweet tea. The scent of my home brings back memories of my childhood. I bask in it for a moment, wondering what it'd do without my mama raising me by herself. Even though I shortened, sometimes I think about how different my life would have turned out if Daddy stuck around. You good, sweetie? Want some more? Poking her head around the corner to look at me, I lean against the kitchen counter, taking a sip of my tea. I'm fine. Mama, stop fussing over me. I insist. And she grins knowingly. Our banter usually consists of whining and picking at each other to our heart's content. After my short break, I get busy. I start fluffing pillows and picking up bills, sorting the mail into multiple piles. Mama finally shoots me a glare when I start up washing the dishes. My little live-in maid. How did I ever get so lucky? She wonders, tapping a finger to her chin. I laugh. This place is a pigsty. How long were you in the hospital for? And she frowns at me. I let her narrow her eyes and huff and puff like a moody teenager. Sometimes I feared I became the parent instead of her. Less than a week. It was a couple days. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝. I had the neighbor water my plants. They did an awful job at it too. Mama looks longingly at her little potted flowers on the windowsill that droop so low they touch the glass. What did the doctor say? I take a chance, knowing full well she'll beat around the bush about anything to do with her condition. She doesn't like to talk about cancer. A stubborn woman would rather pretend like it didn't exist. She groans as she rummages through the refrigerator. They'll be fine, Hendrix. I won't let this kill me. Now quit your worrying, she says slowly, waltzing into the living room with a six-pack in her fingers. I shake my head in frustration, blowing a stray hair out of my eyes. I may not be able to coax the information out of her, but I can still help her as much as possible. Help take care of her. That's why I'm here. Following her, I collapse onto the recliner with a tired groan. It's in the middle of the night by now, with my trip here and the countless chores. I'm exhausted out of my mind. But trailer is warm and cozy, the little yellow lights making the atmosphere perfect. It almost makes me reluctant to go back to Virginia. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝. I think of Cherry and smile. I have to go back. Mama cracks open a cold one. She takes a swig, groaning as she stretches her legs out across the whole couch. I'll tell ya. Alcohol is the only thing that gets me through life sometimes, she admits, shrugging when I raise my eyebrows at her. She wants to pretend as if what she just said wasn't the saddest thing a person could say. You should try it sometime. I scoff. I'm 18. Mama. I inform her, even though she already knows that. She gave birth to me after all. You never let loose. Trust me. It's worth it. She counters, pointing at me rudely. Damn. You look just like your daddy. Jess already had a bit to drink, it would seem. Mama. I know. It's just that sometimes it's hard for me to look at you. It's like him looking into his eyes. She tells me, moving her chin to the side before staring at her beer with a dazed expression. What she says hurts, but I can't blame her. He put her through a lot of pain in the past. I just wish she would be more careful about what she says to me. The alcohol loosens her tongue. I can't help that I look like him, or that I remind her of him. You can't choose what genetics you get. Believe me, if I could I would have picked the bright red hair from my mom. Which reminds me, Mama says, standing a little too quickly and almost tripping on the rug. She grabs something off the old box television. She tosses it at me, and I grab it, feeling startled. Found that in an old box of shit, and I don't want it. It's a small metal flask in a leather cases. I trace the monogram stamped into it with my fingertip. BSS Daddy's initials. Guess he didn't think 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷'd be doing much drinking when he left, huh? I reckon he thought his hussy would be enough to keep him happy. Wonder how long that lasted. She lets out a bitter chuckle, sinking into the couch slowly. I hold the flask a little tighter. A strange feeling consuming me when I think about how many times my daddy held this same flask. How many times he carried it around in his pocket, unscrewed the top, brought it to his lips, and after all these years, it's sitting in my lap. My mama keeps talking, and I cringe when she opens her mouth. I swear, he can go to hell. We were supposed to get a divorce. Good and clean. Then I would get my alimony. Both of us knew you would pick him in court in a heartbeat. But no, he didn't want that. He dumped you on me, ran off, and let Katrina take care of us. I wouldn't doubt that he hoped we died in that damn storm. Less for him to worry about. The bastard. Biting my lip, I tried to tune her out, but it won't work. Her words continue to attack my ears and I wince. I hate hearing about my dad. I've had a lifetime of hearing her complain about him and the difficult situation he left her in. But she continues, as I knew she would. Once she starts, she can't stop. I'll admit it. She was a looker. Pale, sharp features, and eyes that could cut diamonds. Mama pauses to take a noisy sip of beer, and I could have sworn she had pointed ears. I narrow my eyes at her. Is she going crazy? Pointed ears. Is such a thing even possible? I wonder if the cancer's gone to her brain. Maybe she was a demon sent to ruin my life. We're both quiet for a moment, and then she bursts out into a fit of giggles. She shakes her head, and rests her eyes. I'm thankful for the silence after tonight's drama. I can already tell this visit will be shorter than I expected. 21 The Blues Hendrix POV. When I clatter off the bus, I'm already a human popsicle. The snow is coming down hard. It's like a blizzard. I'm an absolute crazy person to be out today of all days. Maybe I am crazy. It wouldn't surprise me at this point. I've lost my mind. Public transportation is my only feasible option. It's not like I can ride like where it's pouring snow everywhere you look. And I can't very well ask 𝐊𝐿 and or Stacy for a ride. I'm still mad at them. Well, I'm not mad. But we aren't talking still, so that would be a little weird. I have my pride. Even though I don't look too prideful since I can hardly walk down the sidewalk. I'm bundled up like a marshmallow. The only reason I'm out and about is because I'm in desperate need to see Cedric. The few days of not being near him have been too much for me to handle. They've taken their toll. I want to see him, touch him. I still get a little giddy sometimes when I think about him. I feel like a kid with a big old crush. It's past crush at this point though. We're basically together. At least. I don't want to assume anything if he doesn't feel the same way about me. Depressing thoughts creep in when I consider what would happen if he doesn't reciprocate the feelings I have for him. I can't think about that. I guess we'll just play it by ear. To my 𝐿𝐷𝐸 𝐷𝐸 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I can't to see what happens. Other times, however, I dread the day when we'll have to face that. It could all come crumbling down. Going down the hallway towards his classroom, I feel like I'm wadding instead of walking. I try to speed up. I'm so excited to see Cherry I can almost taste him. I'm like a fat penguin making my way to the ocean with glee. That's when I'm met with an unwanted surprise. I stop in my tracks as Savannah struts down the hall towards me. The sound of Cedric's door closing behind her and then her heels clicking on the tile floor. She doesn't even have to try to look as gorgeous as she is. She's naturally flawless. Her taunt skin shimmers, her creamy eyes lazy and intelligent. Looking at her, you would guess she has absolutely no problems. When she spots me, she doesn't stop. She just raises her eyebrows in scrutiny as she keeps putting one long leg in front of the other. Cedric's friend isn't exactly dressed for the weather. She wears a camisalo top and skin-tight jeans, topped off with a pair of black high heels. To my 𝐿𝐷𝐸 𝐷𝐸 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Boss lady outfit. An outfit that I wouldn't be able to pull off the way she does. I can't compare to her all. Even at my best. My heart sinks. Hi, Hendrix. How are you? She asks me, and she actually makes it sound like she cares. Savannah flips her curtain of shiny black hair back over her shoulder, standing high above me in her mighty picture of shiny perfection. Good, I reply in a small voice, trying to let some confidence bleed through, and failing miserably. How can anyone be confident in her presence? I'm pretty sure it's impossible. Well, it's great to see you. Cedric will be glad you're here, she informs me, smiling at me, acting a little strange compared to how I usually see her. But for reasons unknown, I actually like Savannah. She seems to mean well, even if she is leaving Cedric's classroom. Wait, why is she leaving his classroom? What were they doing? I can feel my face go as pale as a ghost. She walked out of his door. She was in there. They were together. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐸𝐿 thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. There are plenty of explanations that could be behind this, but my mind jumps to the most painful conclusion possible. Was Cedric replacing me while I was gone? Has he been doing this the whole time? Am I being played? Savannah's nostrils flare, and she takes a step towards me. She's so much tore up close. She leans over me, acting strangely angry and almost protective. Are you all right? She demands, and I startle. Am I that easy to read? I thought I was good at covering it up. I look away. I wallow in my own self-pity at the idea of facing Cedric now. Why did I have to show up right when she left? Why does the universe hate me? I'm fine. I'll see you around, I assure her, trying to turn and walk towards Cedric Hezron with a little bit of dignity I have left. But I'm stopped when a slim hand clamps down on my shoulder, her grip surprisingly strong for how elegant her fingers look. What? Not quite making eye contact, Savannah shakes her head in amusement. He cares about you. He really, really does. It's all she says before giving my shoulder a tiny pat and turning around. The way she moves is so graceful and natural. I glance down at my oversized pea coat and puffy scarf. I look like the Michelin Man. As I keep walking, I think about Savannah. Why would she say that to me? Does he really care about me? How would she even know that? I twist the door handle, and am surprised to find it locked. I timidly poke my head in. It's not even a second before a whirlwind of motion pulls me into the room. The door slams behind me. Warmth and hard muscle greet me, and I don't struggle since I know who's grabbed me. Cedric's arms are tight around me, like bands of unbreakable steel. He just holds me into the air, my feet inches off the ground below. The smell of him is enough to calm me down. It's like it's the thing I've needed most these past days to recharge me, and it only took seconds to work its magic. She's fine. She's fine. She's okay. I hear him chant, and I furrow my eyebrows in confusion. I try to tilt my head back to look at him, but my head is trapped against his chest. I wiggle a little bit, hoping to dislodge him. It doesn't work. Big surprise. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝 heartfelt thanks to your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I complain, but he won't let go. I'm not strong enough to even make his grip budge. I groan in effort, in trying my hardest, but I'm getting nowhere. I give up, going slack. I lean against him and let my legs relax. He holds me for a few minutes. Eventually, he puts me down. His red eyes are wide and angry. I've never seen his eyes that way when he looks at me. Do you know how terrified I was? He demands, his voice harsh and his face scary looking. I silently open my mouth, and then close it again. 𝐊𝐢𝐳 mad. 𝐊𝐢𝐳 mad at me. Maybe I should have told him I was leaving. I know you were prob. He slams his hand against the wall next to me. No, you don't know. I didn't know where you were. You wouldn't answer my calls and... Cedric trails off, shaking his head in anguish, rubbing his forehead. I thought you were hurt. 𝐊𝐢𝐳𝐷𝐞𝐝 heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I went to your apartment. You weren't there. And your friends turned me away without any information. I'm trembling now. I'm not afraid of Cherry, but I'm so angry at myself for not thinking of him. I got too carried away. I was so caught up in my mother that it didn't seem important to even bring my phone with me when I fled. It's no excuse, but it's all I have. I left my phone in my room when I left. I didn't know you were trying to contact me. I haven't been back to the apartment since I've been back in town. I came straight here. Otherwise I would call back right away. I whisper, taking a deep breath and not looking at my booted feet. My thoughts drift to Savannah and my lip starts to tremble. I bite my tongue, determined to hash this out. I can't lose him. I just can't. I know you didn't mean to, baby, but you really didn't even think to tell me you were leaving. I had to go to your job and demand to see your boss. I was so desperate to find you, and you were all the way in Mississippi. He went, his voice desperate as he stares at me with so much hurt that it's hard for me to function. The guilt is eating me alive. I didn't really think anyone would care. I admit, shrugging my shoulders lamely. I want to look at anything but Cedric, but I can't. My eyes automatically glue themselves to him. You didn't think I would notice? Wouldn't care? Do you think so little of what's between us? Did you even think of me at all? 𝐊𝐢𝐳 not yelling at me. Thank goodness. But 𝐊𝐲's definitely talking louder than he usually does. Cherry's definitely not happy. I can almost hear my heart tearing. I hate when people are mad at me. Well, what about Savannah? Looks like you found a replacement pretty quick to keep your lips warm. I counter quietly, feeling defensive. He really thinks he can accuse me like that. He knows I care about him. He probably knows I'm falling hopelessly in love with him. Maybe this is all a test. Some sick game. Savannah. Cedric is bewildered, as if he can't believe I'm bringing her up. We are just friends. Hendrix. How many times do we need to go over this? Talking about her is getting tiring. You are so paranoid. It's infuriating. Why do you always question my devotion to you? Can't you see what's right in front of you? I'm silent for a while, trying to let everything run through my head and sort through the mass of information. Cedric gets impatient. Damn it. Hendrix. You have no right to be mad at me. This is all on you. I'm the one who's mad. He says bitterly. My heart has gotten the better of me. Mama taught me that men always look for an upgrade, and then they leave you in the dust the first chance they get. As soon as you slip up, they leave. I fell for it. I really did. After all the years of lessons and warnings, I let a man trick me into caring. I fell for him. I made a mistake. And now he won't want me. And it's too late to do anything. My soul is crumbling apart. The seams are loosening. The strings snapping. Tears fill my eyes without preamble. I can't take it. I can't do this. My body works on autopilot, steering me out of the room and down the hall and out on the street. Flurries of snow all around me. The light wind stirring the flakes up. I stick my hands in my pockets. It doesn't help. My fingers are still cold, but not as frozen as the rest of me. I feel like I've been dumped in ice water. He was mean to me. He hates me. I messed everything up. And he'll probably go running to Savannah and she'll welcome him with open arms. The tears I've collected are falling freely now. My face is soaked in them. The salty trails they leave behind freeze to my cheeks. Even though my toes hurt from the cold, I keep walking. I know my destination of shame. The payphone sits under a street lamp. It calls to me through the dark. A lighthouse through the treacherous waves. After inserting a few frozen quarters, I type in the number and wait patiently for the voice I need to hear. Hello, Stacy. I sniffle. Can you please come pick me up?